Welcome to the Better Brave podcast, where you get to hear unique stories from guests like you who choose to live bravely outside of their comfort zones. I'm Candace Dudley, your host, former teacher turned online business mentor and podcaster. This podcast is for you if you're committed to living life on purpose, no more following the rules of society. Go hit the follow button if you haven't yet, and tune in every Tuesday for a new episode. On today's episode, I have a special guest, Joy Rowland. She is a certified financial coach, money and business strategist, and creator of Joyful Money, where she empowers entrepreneurs to master financial management, build unshakable confidence, and increase visibility. With a proven framework that blends financial clarity with hands-on growth tactics, Joy helps business owners attract consistent leads, grow their revenue, and embrace a confidence that makes their business magnetic. Through her coaching, she teaches entrepreneurs that success isn't a solo journey. It's a strategic, supported path where we lift each other up and achieve lasting impact. You are going to absolutely love this conversation I just had with Joy. She is an absolute bright light of energy. Let's dive in. Welcome, Joy. Why don't you start with telling us a bit about just how you got to where you are now in your entrepreneurial journey?
Hi, Candice, and hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be here. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Like many people in business, my journey has been long-winded, right? It's been a lot of ups and downs. I've had a number of offers and I've tried different things. And so I finally landed where I am now. So my journey started, I'd say about 2 to 3 years ago. I was in corporate. So my background is in IT. I was an IT consultant for 20 years. During COVID, we were working from home. Everything was fine. And then after COVID, they said everyone had to come into the office. And I had just had my baby. I had bought a house very far from downtown, so commuting was not on the table for me. So I started to think, what can I do to start earning money online? And so I started searching online, and then I found the life coach school. So I went through the life coach school, got certified, and I started making offers. First, I tried to be a weight loss coach.
Okay.
That was so overwhelming for me. Like, it wasn't for me anyways. And then I started midlife coaching because I had gone through a divorce and I felt I could coach midlife people. But I got my first client, and on the call, she goes, "Oh, you look too young to coach midlife." I'm like, "Well, I'm almost 40 and I can coach midlife women." But that kind of made me think, okay, what else can I do? And so I went through Dave Ramsey's coaching, financial coaching, and I absolutely loved it. At first, I was helping people deal with debt. So many of my clients were very heavily in debt, and as most people know, as a coach, you tend to embody the experiences of your clients. And that was really heavy for me, listening to all of these heartbreaking stories. And so I'm like, I prefer to be more positive. I prefer to tell people that you can build wealth. And so I decided to do financial coaching for business owners. And that's where I'm at now. And I am so excited because every morning when I wake up, I'm very excited to come into my office to do the work. And I feel like that was a litmus test for me to know, well, this is it for me.
Yes, I love that journey. So you really had a lot of points where you pivoted things. You thought that the answer was one thing, and I have a similar experience too, or just you're just pivoting and changing until you find that right thing. And it seems like you're on it because I could just see, they can't see you, but you're smiling and you're like radiating, and it just feels good for me, not even knowing you that well. So how can you help explain to the listeners when they are in those moments of feeling maybe unaligned, but thinking about pivoting? I think there's a lot of stigma, or at least for women, of like, oh, you're changing your mind again, and that it's this bad thing. How can they embrace that and trust that the nudge they're having is the right one to follow?
Yes, I love that question so much. I was making all of my mistakes publicly because I had a podcast called Joyful Midlife. So, like, people were starting to know me. I was interviewing guests. So, changing my niche was a big deal. The encouragement I want to give to listeners is just keep going. You see, when we listen to our intuition, I call him God, you might call him intuition, like that little voice is always there for us. And as long as you keep going and keep taking these steps, because many people like to see the entire staircase of their lives before they take action. I was taking messy action, and when I look back, all of the steps I took helped me to get to where I am today. Like, all of the changes were building me up. So I want to encourage anyone, it doesn't matter your niche. Someone was willing to pay me $5,000 for 3 months to coach them on midlife. right? So it doesn't matter your niche, you can be successful as long as you keep taking action. So don't dwell in the valley of indecision, because many people are so stuck in that place and you are depriving the whole world of your genius by not taking action. Just decide on a niche, keep going. You're going to feel it when it's right for you, exactly how it happened for me. I promise you, as long as you keep going and surround yourself with ambitious people as well. I am so blessed. I'm surrounded by highly successful coaches. Brooke Castillo, who is the owner of the Life Coach School, she makes over $75 million per year working as a life coach. And I have so many women that I network with who are hugely successful, and those people encourage me to keep going. So if you are in that space where you're wondering what to do next, just surround yourself with very positive people, very ambitious people, and before you know it, you will be making magic in your business.
Yeah, how important do you feel networking is? And for people just starting out that don't have those connections, do you have some advice of where they can look or how to put themselves out there and get in touch with those types of things? Because I agree, it's vital to be surrounded by those kinds of people, have them on your team. So where can people start with that?
I would say Facebook groups for sure. I started in Facebook groups as well. There are many of them. Like if you do female entrepreneurs, like if you are a woman or if you're a man, if you do the male entrepreneurs, just go on Facebook. There are tons and tons of very quality Facebook groups. There are also very terrible ones, I promise you,
Yes.
but they're very good ones. Just read the description, look at the members and see how you vibe with them. And as you network in those Facebook groups and as you give value, you begin to find your people, right? Because I believe that as humans, we are magnets, right? As we network, people who are attracted to us will show themselves. And before you know, you start to build your network. So I'll definitely say start from Facebook groups. Also, I have to say, networking face to face also helps as well. So after COVID, like I'm going to one tomorrow in my area of entrepreneurs and business owners. So don't discount face to face because it really, really helps as well.
And I think most communities, or at least the nearest larger city next to you, does host those kinds of things. A lot of times they're free. They can be intimidating. I know early on in the game, I always felt like going to those that I didn't belong because I wasn't far enough into it, and just take that pressure out. Everyone is so welcoming. And if they're not, then you know right away that that's not the place to spend your energy.
And you have to make sure you have fun as well, because if you are having fun in your business, I promise you, people will be attracted to you. So don't choose a niche that drains you
Mhm.
emotionally. It has to be something you're very excited to even do for free. Yeah, and as you do that, your clients, your very high paying clients will find you.
Earlier, you were talking about taking messy action, and I love that. I'm a firm believer in it. It can be scary though, because messy action kind of requires you to start before you know all that maybe you think you need to know. So, how do you take the messy action? Like, how do you keep your mindset in a place where you're strong enough to push through the doubts, push through not knowing enough, all those things that our brain likes to tell us? How do you continue to keep taking that messy action?
Oh gosh, thanks, Candice, for that question. So my coach, Brooke Castillo, the owner of the Life Coach School, I refer to her because she's had a very tremendous impact on my life. She says that we agree we will never know the how right now. She coaches us to, at the beginning, know that you will not know the how, right? So if my goal, for example, is to make $5 million a year, that's my goal. Right now, I don't know the how. The only time I will know the how is when I get there.
Hmm.
So I have this idea of excitement of let's see how we're going to get there. Like, let's see the steps. As she says, you have to be the mad scientist, right? The mad scientist just keeps trying different things. You have a hypothesis in your mind. When I started, I thought, oh, I'm going to do Facebook ads, right? Because that's what she teaches us. So Facebook ads didn't work for me at first, but I kept doing different things. And I'm like, okay, how about podcasting? I started podcasting and that became successful for me. So you have to know that you will not know the how right now. You will only know the how when you get there, and be willing to embrace the journey, right? don't be too attached to the final outcome, like the $1 million in your account. Like if you're just waiting until you get the $1 million in your account to start feeling happy, then it's going to take you longer. So embrace the journey of discovering how to make $5 million a year. I think that's the best tip I can give anyone. And also, like we said earlier, is surrounding yourself with people who have the same ambitions as you. Because here's the thing, I am not this upbeat all the time. There are days where I feel very low. And those days, when I go into my masterminds, there is someone who is so upbeat, someone who is making so much progress in their businesses. Their success will pull me up. So on those days where my energy is low, I'm not very motivated to work on my business, I go into that mastermind, and then it's almost like co-regulation, right?
Yeah.
We all co-regulate ourselves. And so just being in that kind of community really, really helps.
Yes, having someone to pull you out of that funk, because it's going to happen. I can
Yeah.
attest to it too. There will
Oh,
be
yeah.
low days, high days.
I
Quicker you
just
can
grab chocolate, go upstairs and watch Netflix,
Yes.
right? Yeah, things like that. I don't judge myself for those days. I love myself. The days where I'm highly productive and the days when I don't feel like it.
Yeah.
I love all of it.
And it's just great when you have those communities, because sometimes it might take us longer on our own to pull ourselves out of that. And the quicker you can get pulled out of it, the better. And those communities help do that. The other thing you were talking about is kind of just that discovery with that messy action and just releasing that how I'm going to get there and just putting one foot in front of the other. I always feel like in my experience, I've learned walking down your path and taking that action is how the how reveals itself. It's how you get to see the next step. I left the classroom 3 years ago, but I taught for 13 years. And for the last 3 years, I kept thinking that I wanted to leave, but my brain could not see how I would make it work. And it wasn't until I finally got to the point where a friend of mine in the entrepreneurial membership I was in, she's like, I think you're to the point you need to take the leap or else you're not going to be able to see what's next. And that was so true in my case, to take that leap with some planning, of course, but taking that leap to really let the next things reveal themselves.
In the mindset of being all in is very important as well, because sometimes I find many business owners who are just trying to give it a go. Right? They just want to see how it goes. They are not really, really committed to their businesses. So the mindset is very important as well, because if you decide and say, oh, I'm going to make this work no matter what, I'm going to figure it out. Is it Amy Porterfield that always says everything is figure outable?
Yes.
Right. So if you have that mindset of, oh gosh, I love this business, I'm going to make it work no matter what, that will get you to your goal faster than if you just say, oh, I'm just going to see how it goes. Right.
Yes, for
So
sure.
that's the mindset shift.
So I want to touch on your niche area a little bit of finance and money mindset. I know that we can kind of push money away from us without knowing it. How do we know that? And how do we make sure that doesn't happen? One of our things as entrepreneurs is obviously that's important to be able to keep going with your business. We have to make money. We need that for life, but we can kind of be pushing it away sometimes. Can you explain that a little bit for us?
It all boils down to our life experiences and how our nervous system now reacts to money. I'll give you an example. If someone works on their business, let's say you come on your computer and you start working on your business and you feel stress and anxiety, that message is sent to your body, and then your body sends that to your brain, and your mind begins to think, oh, whenever we sit down to work on our business to make money, this person is always stressed. And so your mind relates that to mean that money is a bad thing. As simple as that is what is holding many people back. When your nervous system has read in your programming that making money is equivalent to stress and anxiety, anything about money makes you cry, you don't sleep at night because of how much debt you're on. All of those things make your nervous system tell your mind, which is your subconscious mind, that making money is a bad thing. Here's another example. One of my clients, she grew up, her mom was very hardworking, but her mom was struggling a lot. She was a single mom, but finally she got a better job and she started to make some money. But because of that, she wasn't home all the time. So the children kind of suffered from not seeing their mom all the time. And now my client's brain associates making money with meaning that she's not going to be there for her children. Right. So as subtle as that is, is just identifying what your money blocks are and then working through those. So it's different for different people. Another example is a child has a money box, and then as the child grows up, the child is saving money in the money box, and then the dad comes one day and says, "Oh, Lisa, can I have X amount of dollars from your money box?" The dad takes the money from the money box and never gives it back. And so the child has grown up as an adult now, and she thinks, if I don't spend all my money, somebody's going to take it from me and I'm not going to ever get it back. And now how that relates now to her life currently is that any money that comes into her business, she spends it like money is COVID-19. Like that's how she's so allergic to having money. So I'm just giving all of these examples so that listeners can start to think and pinpoint where they might be holding themselves back. Another thing I also talk about, one thing that keeps money away, is money is energy. Money loves going to places where there is organization and where there is a purpose for the money. So imagine if you were money, Candice, and you had a choice of either going to someone who has their finances organized and planned out and everything in a good shape, compare that to a business that is just chaos, right? Money is going to gravitate towards where there is organization and where there is plan. And the strategy I teach is what is called Profit First. It's a book anyone can go get. And so when you organize your finances and you plan for profits, instead of planning for expenses, you plan for profits first. And here's what the law of attraction says. The law of attraction says what you focus on expands. So many people focus on expenses and they always have bills and they keep asking, why do I get bills all the time? It's because your focus is on expenses. If you flip it on its head and you focus on profits, then your profits begin to amass. And that's what I teach my clients. I know that's a very long-winded answer, but I just wanted to give people an overview of what I teach.
No, I love that. I believe all of what you're saying, and it's not a one tiny thing that fits all. So it is a big thing, but also can be as simple as we make it. So it sounds like a good place to start looking with your money blocks is to go all the way back to your childhood and just kind of reflect on what money was like. Was there enough?
Mhm.
How was it spent? What did you feel about it? What did the adults in your life say about money? You know, we all have those stories. I know I think I come from generations of hardworking farmers and 9-to-5ers where the thought is, or the mindset is, you work hard for money. So that's one thing I've been trying to unlearn is money can come easily to me. It doesn't need to be a grind and a burnout to get my money. So yeah, it's a good place to start is probably past and think about those types of things.
Absolutely. I love the examples you gave. I come from a working class family as well, but we struggled hard, right? My father couldn't feed us, and most people, right? Many people grew up struggling with money. And so we always heard money doesn't grow on
Yes.
trees. You have to work hard. People don't pick dollars from the floor, right?
Yep.
So all of those money beliefs, obviously, those were the things I had to work on and say, well, I can use my skills, things has blessed me with, to profit. And it doesn't mean I have to work 60 hours a week. No, I can have money come to me freely and easily. I'm not saying you just fold your arms and money is going to just come, but it's going to come easily if you have that mindset. So I love that example you gave.
How about giving us just a simple strategy for business owners to attract and bring in more money? We've talked about different mindset shifts, but do you want to highlight one of those more in detail?
I can highlight the profit first strategy. And that strategy says that you split your accounts into 5 main accounts. Now, it doesn't mean you have to pay monthly fees on those accounts. So you could use savings accounts, which are free in most banks. But essentially, you have 5 different accounts. One account is for your main revenue. So that's where all of your revenue comes in. The second one is what is called the profit account. The profit account is where you set aside around 10% of every single thing that comes into your business. And then the third account is called the owner's account. This is where you pay yourself from the profit. And then the fourth one is operating expenses, where you have expenses like rent, utilities, materials, all of those things. And the final one is the taxes account. This is where you put 20% to be on the safe side. 20% of all of your revenue goes into your tax account. So you don't find yourself struggling to pay taxes when it's time to pay taxes. Now, because you have done this allocation beforehand, you can plan for revenue. You can do projections for your earnings. So, for example, if you wanted to earn, let's say, 200K for this year, based on these allocations, these percentages, you can see how much revenue you need to bring in. So that with that focus on profits, you then bring in more revenue to meet your profit goal. So I know it sounds very simple, but just doing this has transformed many businesses. And like I said, people can grab the book online and just see how to structure the accounts. If there's any tip I can give to any business owner, that will be the first, to just get your finances organized so you see where all of your money is going to, and then money is going to be attracted to you.
Right. I've read that book. It's great. You're making me think I need to give it another reread so I can refresh my memory. This episode is going to air in January. What do you have coming up that we should be looking for in 2025?
Oh, 2025 is going to be an amazing year. Yeah, I can feel it in my bones. I hope everyone can feel it too. For me, I am just excited to see my business explode. Like, that's where my heart is right now. I know that if business owners decide that 2025 is going to be an explosive year for their businesses, then it's going to happen. For me, I am currently focused on collaboration, which is a technique I teach business owners to collaborate with other business owners, exactly how I'm collaborating with Candice right now, because many people always think competition. And I feel like collaboration is the way to go. A rising tide lifts all boats in our harbor. So
Yes.
that's my key for 2025, collaboration.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. And it's so simple, and collaborations like this don't cost money. It's just as simple
Mm,
as putting yourself out there, sending that email, and seeing if people are taking guests for their podcast or things like that, or doing an email trade to email list. It's so many different things. Yes. So I love that advice. So where can people connect with you if they want to follow along?
I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. On Instagram is Joy_Rowland_. On Facebook is Joy Rowland X. I will send the links to Candice. And Candice, I can't wait to have you on my podcast too. I
Yes.
think I want to have you on my
Let's
podcast.
do that. And I think you have a resource, a free resource for us, a business confidence in 5 days.
In 5 days,
5 days.
yes.
Yeah, tell us about
Yeah.
that.
This is a technique I teach inside of my program, because many business owners are not confidently talking about their offers. And so I teach people how to go live on Facebook, because people say they trust people they see on video more.
Hmm.
So I teach my clients how to be more visible and share their offers. So the freebie I'm offering is how to build your confidence in 5 days so that you're more comfortable sharing your genius with the world, because I promise you the world needs more of you. But
Yes.
people just need to see that you're open for business, and people need to see that are ready to make sales.
Yes, there are people for each and every one of us, and there's specific
Yeah.
people waiting for your story. Yes, for sure. Okay. Thank you so much for being on. I'm going to link everything that we talked about, all the links and things in the show notes. So everybody go check there and follow along with Joy. It was a pleasure talking with you, and I'm like, super excited for my listeners to get to hear this episode.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for being here. I love being able to highlight entrepreneurial journeys because no two are the same. I hope you feel seen, inspired, and like your dreams and goals are completely valid, because they are. To grab my free podcast setup guide or book a one-on-one call with me, head to the show notes. Finally, please leave a quick review so I can continue this work. See you next week.